broadcast show. In this hour, we're going to start with a demo of Trados by Tuomas, and then we're going to follow with a demo of Voicehouse Guide today. Again, for those who are here for the first session, just a reminder, this is just a demo. It's not a tutorial. We're just going to give you step-by-step instructions. It's just to give you an idea what the different tools can do. If you could just leave your questions till the end of each demo, so that because we have very limited time.
Yes.
For that reason, I'll just throw to you.
Thank you. My name is Tuomas Kostiainen. I'm an English to Finnish translator, technical and medical fields. And I'm also independent Trados trainer. I'm giving Trados workshops almost 20 years by now, and usually a presentation here at the conference as well. What I wanted to do is I wanted to give you a little bit background or the review of the resources that are available to you when you translate with Trados Studio. There are so many things going on that it's very difficult to kind of understand all the different concepts. So I'm going to give you a little bit background of that, and then just show the simple translation process from the document to the translated document, and in the process to show you a few settings and explain a few concepts so that you get an idea how the translation work happens. So this, obviously, we're talking about 20 minutes here, so it cannot go very deep into anything, but at least I'm hoping that gives you an idea how the translation goes. And then, free of charge, you also get a review of the new 2017 beta, because that's what I'm using for this presentation. So this looks a little bit different than your home version. It looks a little bit different because it is a different version. So let me show you a few things about the resources. We have translation memories that we are using while you translate. You can have one or more memory in your use, and they can be server-based or file-based, which is usually the case, or it can be a machine translation as well, acting like a translation memory. You get fuzzy matches, exact matches from there. You have a lot of settings that you can adjust which memory you give a priority, which memory you want to update, which memory you want to use for concordance, and so on. And then you get these auto suggestions that when you start typing, it suggests something. And you get these from the memories as well. And then the new version, this 2017, has this uplift fuzzy match repair technology, where it actually gives you fragments from the existing memory, from the memory and term bases as well. Then we have term bases, and they can be server-based or file-based. You can have several term bases in your use. While you translate, you can add new terms to your term bases. You can search them manually, or the hits come also as auto suggestions, as you will see later from the term bases. And then, as I mentioned, the uplift utilizes the term bases as well. And then we have auto-suggest dictionaries. It's you can have one or more of them at the same time, and they give you also those auto-suggestions while you start typing. In this case of translation memory, you get hits to your translation editor, and stuff goes in. When you confirm a translation, it goes to the memory. It's normal how translation memories work. Term bases, you get hits from there, and in order to put anything into the term base, it takes a couple of clicks, a little bit of manual labor, not much, but it takes active participation from your part. However, the auto-suggest dictionary is like a black box. You create it from an existing large memory, at least 10,000 units, and then you have it. That's it. You can't add anything into it. Of course, later on, you can create a new one from the same memory when the memory has grown. And the auto-suggest dictionary is basically a database of fragments of your translation memory. It chops the translation units to little bits and pieces, so it can find these not full segments, but little phrases and words from there. And then the fourth source of suggestions come from order text, and that's just like in Microsoft Word, you enter your own words there and they come up. Okay, then other source of confusion might be the just the sheer number of windows and things going on in Carter Studio. This is the area this is translation memory window where you get your matches from translation memory, and here is the text that you are actually. Please just die. Here's your source text, and here's the target text that you are translating. In the center, it tells you the status. Is it fuzzy match or exact match, and so on. Thanks. Now I need to have a course how to this work. You have several buttons. Oh yeah. But, no? Good. Here's the term recognition window, and then I will show you some other windows that are actually slide in and out automatically. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's really nice to have at least second monitor, if not the third one, when you work with Carter Studio. Now, those are just pictures. Oh, and the last file I wanted to show you. This is the file that I'm going to translate. So something really simple, stupid, repeating sentences, nothing that makes really sense. Things that need to pay attention. Here we have a figure, little icon, printer icon. And then this I added here just to give you an idea how you can deal with tables. Tables that you need to leave bilingual, where the first column needs to be stay in target language, and you would put translation here. So if you open this now in Studio, you would end up translating the whole thing. And in Carter Studio, you can use the hidden font to just select the column, and then you go to font, and in Word you select this hidden font. And so it's hidden, and anything that's hidden by default is not going to be presented to you while you translate this. I can do the same thing to that guy as well. Okay. And that's it. And then I hit the same, and I close it. And then I go to Carter Studio. In the new Studio, I can actually drag and drop files to this area here where it says drag and drop. And since I don't have much space here, I'd rather use the browse option. So that's the file that I want to open, the one that we just saw. And in Studio, one thing that creates confusion is this thing that you can open a single file for translation, or you can create a project. Usually, if you only need to translate one file for the project, it is easier to open, just use that single file method. The project method is very practical if you have more files for the same project. Or if you have already a client-specific settings and you can use the client-specific project template to create a project. So you have options. And then the third option, of course, is if a client sends you a Trados package, in which case you have only one option, and that's opening the package, and then it basically copies the project to your computer, and then you just keep working. You don't have to create anything. You just work on that project. And you can add your own memories to that project, of course. Even if it's a client package, it doesn't mean that you can't put your own resources to it. Okay, so translate single document. Then here, we select the memories we want to use for this project. And these come from your default settings. So if you set your default settings so that they always prompt for the main memory that you want to use, or memories, then you probably don't need to do anything here. If you want to add another memory, then you just go and either create a new one, or here you go and select an existing. A lot of options there. I'm not going to go there right now. we might go there at the end if we have time. I have here my demo memory, which is I'm going to, actually I'm not going to use this because it already has the translations there. So I'm going to remove it, and I'm going to add a new memory. And just put this here. One thing in Trados Studio that confuses a lot of people, and it doesn't, I can't say it confuses me, but by accident I don't remember to pay attention. And the thing that I don't remember to pay attention are these paths, where Trados Studio saves files. You have to always pay attention where it's going, because it's not necessarily going where you think it's going. It's going whatever it says there. So you need to read what it says, and if you don't like what it says, then you just change it. And then I'm just let it go there, and I click finish, don't do anything more here, close, fine. And these were the options. I can choose if my memory is used for lookup or only concordance, and if it's being updated. So you can select those flexibly between your memories. And then, yeah. Okay, and here's the source text. We are going to type translation here. Here's our term-based window. It shows us recognized terms if there are any. There aren't any at these points. It says no results available. Now, I did a little cheating here. I have a auto-suggest dictionary working in the background, so I get all the suggestions so that you don't have to watch me typing that much, and it probably is a painful stuff to watch, so I'm just going to do that. And when you have finished translating, you confirm it. And in Studio, like I think most programs, they have you have several options of executing commands. You can use the buttons here, or you can use keyboard shortcuts. I'm going to use the button right now. It's confirm, and it confirms. And what confirming does is that it sends that segment we just translated to the translation memory. So now we got the first segment. Not only that we translated it, but we sent it to the translation memory. Okay. Then the second and third segment, those are exact matches, except that the number is the only difference. So, of course, it did that automatically, and I'm not saying here that Trados Studio is the only program that can do this. I think they all do the same thing. And what do we have? So you see these suggestions coming up, and I'm a very slow typist. So for me, that kind of stuff is really useful. It makes my typing faster, and also decreases the number of typos that I do. Of course, if you're a really fast typist, then you probably are just faster. It would be faster just to type rather than try to read those suggestions. But in my case, they work nice. Right, and then we already had some talk about the tags in the previous programs. And then just to and are there any Finnish speakers people there? No, okay. So I can write anything down. Very good. I don't want to have my clients who know Finnish. I don't want to have them. So the question about formatting and tags. What do you do now here? We obviously see that there's the word some has italics. I have now the tags. I have turned them off. If I go to view, unfortunately, these commands, you don't really see them because the resolution of the screen it's very narrow. I don't have much space, so it gets kind of squishy at the end. But there is a button here that turns the formatting tags on and off. Turning them off doesn't mean that it removes them. It just hides them. We don't need to necessarily see the tags because we see the formatting. So what's the point of both? Sometimes there's no point of seeing both, sometimes it is really useful to see them both. So the question here, without going any deeper to this, is that how do I get the formatting to that word that I want? You have several options, and the easiest option I think that I like is that I just select the word that I want to format. Then I have there's a secret keyboard shortcut. I press Control key down, and then I move to the source side and point that word that has the formatting that I want to use. Okay, in this case, there's only one type of formatting. If there were several types, I could select any one of them to apply to this word. And then I just click it. So the formatting, i.e. the tags, go there. So that way I don't have to think what is the tag, which tag it is. It's just whatever tag it takes to do the formatting, that's it. For simple formatting, I also would use buttons here. We have bold, italics, underline, and then super and subscript. If I wanted that, that's possible too. Okay, so let me just move here. Then we have the same sentence, but the tag formatting is different place. Studio is not smart enough to put the tags into the target language to the new place. So it does not know that, because it doesn't really know Finnish that well, so I need to help and put the tags in the right place by clicking that. Okay, so nothing exciting there. And let me just move here a little bit further. Potential problems, like see here, segment 17, we have 3 sentences together. Obviously not a smart thing to translate them together. So you can split segments. You just go here, right click and say split, and then we go here and right click and split. So that does it. Job for us. And anything that you see blue underlining, let me actually scroll it up a little bit. Okay. Blue underlining on the source side, I can insert that with Control comma, and when I press Control comma, press enter, it enters the temperature, and it also formats it to the Finnish format where I need to have space between the number and the degree circle. Okay, let me actually save this. I didn't save this file yet, so we have certainly saved it. Now, one thing I want to show you here. Now we get the hit from the term base. We see the term base entry is there. And we don't have to think about any special ways to try to insert the term to the translation. We just start to type, and it comes up as an auto-suggestion. I type the first letter, and it's there. Now, the apple, it seems to come from my auto-suggest dictionary, but if I wanted to add it to my translation, I just select it on both sides, right-click, and select Add the term base. And now it's in the term base. And so on. At the same time, I'm not going to translate more. A couple of things that I wanted to point out here. These. You have a way to preview this. There's a preview window here, and obviously if you preview here, it's so small that you don't really see much. But obviously you can change the size of this window or put it even on a different screen if you want it. And that's something that happens when people, they start, you feel like, I want to have this preview somewhere else. And then you just grab the title. You can move this somewhere else. And then it might happen that you grab that and it goes somewhere else. And then all of a sudden you have these floating windows. It's great. It's very customizable. You can put them anywhere you want, whatever works for you, and close them turn it off. But at the same time, it might get messy. So the good idea in those cases is go to here, View, and reset window layout, and that way all the windows run to their own little places and things look good. Now, after you have translated the document, there's a spell checking available, obviously. You do a spell check. And then one really good tool is the verification tool, and it checks, so if I go to projects, I go to project settings. And here is the verification tool. There are different type of tools, different type of verification tools. And it can, for example, check inconsistent translations. It can check your punctuation so that you didn't have space before question mark, for example, or you didn't have extra space at the end of the sentence, or you didn't have extra space before a column, or then you can also check that the capitalization, initial capitalization, and you can check that the various other things like brackets. You don't want to check them all because it doesn't necessarily fit your language. Maybe you don't want to use brackets like it's used in English, or maybe you don't want to use the capitalization like in English, so you have to kind of adjust it. But the tools are there. And it's really good how it finds these issues. And there's also regular expressions, so you can actually create your own checks. So it's basically a limitless number of checks available for you. And then when you do the check, you go to the review button of the ribbon, and you select verify. And then it runs the verification, and then you get a list of problems. Obviously, segment has not been translated. This was the biggest problem because I didn't finish my job. And then here's the problem that it found about initial capitalization, which is kind of funny. Yes. And then when you have finished your translation, done everything, spell check, the verification check, you're happy, you remember to save it one more time, and then you need to save it as a target file. So you save, actually, I need to do one. So that you see how the table looks. Okay. So now we save it to target. And I'll save that and move it there. Okay. And then let's just take a look at the bottom. So there, obviously, as I said, most of it is still in English. Didn't have time to finish it. But what we did get, we got, our table correctly translated. And to get the English text visible, I just do Control A, then go back to my font section here and select it so that the hidden is all the way off. And OK, and now I have the hidden text back. So this is our translation. Then for translation memory, if you need to actually look at the translation memory or import, export translation memory, edit translation memory, you would do that at the translation memories view. You go here and open the memory. Just open. And let's just take there. This is not this memory, this is another memory, but this is how the memory looks if you want to look at that. Then here you can do searches and build filters and find memories, translation units based on various factors like field values or content or date or so on. And then one more, exporting, importing takes place here. Right click, you can import, export the memory the way you want. Not actually the way you want. You can only export it as a TMX file, and then importing wise, you can import TMX files or basically any Studio bilingual file, such as Excel file or the old tag editor file even. And one nice thing in Studio is those open exchange apps that you can add additional features to Studio as you see fit. Some of those apps, they actually incorporate themselves into the interface like they are part of the program. Some of them are standalone programs, they just work separately. And then some of them are actually nothing more than additional file types in your file type list, which is here. Here are all the file types that you can translate, and you can add to this list. Of course, you can create your own file types. There are also file types, additional file types available from the App Store, and those are usually free with some exceptions. So I like the fact that you can modify, add features if you need. Because if you add all those features that are available as an app to this mess, it's not mess, but this amount of windows and features, you wouldn't find, your text from there after that. So it doesn't make sense to have them all there. And the one thing that the downside of that app system is that it's really difficult to stay up to date what's there. Of course, new things come up all the time. So unless you go there weekly and review what's there, you might miss some really useful apps, and that happens. It happens easily that you find something much later and wish you had it earlier, but you just didn't know that it was there. Any questions?
Someone's suggestion to pick up things as they are updated. Just are there tutorials? So I was saying, you were saying that you don't know what you don't know what's there.
Yeah, I mean the thing is to visit the site every so often, because you get ads from SDL occasionally that we have this new app, but you don't get ad or information about any app. So I think you can't rely on somebody else telling it to you. I think you just have to go ahead and check it yourself.
For spelling check, how many foreign languages would spelling check?
The spell checking, you have basically two options. You have the unspell that comes with the program. Unspell is the open source spell checker that has limited number of languages, and it's also not very good in some languages. It's really actually very poor in some languages. But you can use the Microsoft Word spell checker as well. So you are probably better off using Microsoft Word spell checker if you have that. So I recommend that.
Sorry, I was just wondering if you could go over the different machine translations options, whether you're using it on a sentence level or a sub-segment level?
The machine translation options, basically they come down to, I'm not actually going through the machine translation options, but I'm going through here where I can add memories. Here you can see those additional translation memory options listed. So there you have those ones that are provided by SDL, various types of machine translation systems. You can hook a Google Translate as well, and then the NTM is not a machine translation thing, but it allows you to use memories that work in the opposite direction or have some other language in them. So that allows you to do that. And then there's an app for My Memory as well, which allows you to use the My Memory, which is partially a cloud-based translation memory and then also a machine translation. But as far as the new studio, there will be some new machine translation systems provided by SDL. Yeah.
So, just to follow up on that, I saw you had the auto suggest turned on, but I think there's also a way to turn on machine translation on that subsetting level so that the suggestions you get to auto suggest.
Yeah.
You get that turned off.
Yes, yeah, because the, let me just go here to the settings where you tell about auto-suggest, the sources of auto-suggest are here, and you can have your machine translation engine there as well. So it's there. You can use machine translation so that it gives you the whole segment as machine translated, or you can have it so that it only gives you suggestions, which often work better because maybe the whole machine translated segment is not that good, but there might be good bits and pieces. So when you start typing, it can give you a suggestion based on what you type, in which case it's probably much more likely that it is a smart suggestion. So, yes. Do we have time?
No, I think we have to move on to the next. Maybe if this time is at the end of the session.
Yeah. And if you see me...